I'm Allan Dale from Gale Force Winds, and what an absolute pleasure it is to be here in beautiful Nanaimo, British Columbia at Discovery Community College graduation. I want to tell you, these folks are happy, everybody's excited, enjoying themselves. I like meeting them one by one, and on that note, why don't you introduce yourself, tell us what you do.
I'm Heather. I'm the online manager at DCC, and I oversee all the learning that takes place in our online learning.
Okay, there's a lot of moving parts to that. Talk to me about your job.
So I make sure that students have the support that they need before they're even a student. So in the admissions process, we make sure that they get their computers set up with the software that they need and know how to use the software. I make sure that in their first week, they're orientated to use our online platforms so they feel confident in the online environment before they even get to the complicated how to become a nurse part. And then we support them to learn in an engaging way online. We tell our students that online learning is real learning in a classroom. It just happens to be that we're virtual in our separate spaces.
There's got to be a lot of, different sort of skill sets around how they interact with technology and all that. That first sort of interaction, those first couple of weeks must be a little bit busy for you, getting everybody organized.
Well, and we make sure that we don't leave it to the first week. So there's a process where we're getting students comfortable from their enrollment time to when they are actually a student, because being a student is overwhelming to begin with. It's anytime we start a new journey, there's some nerves, and we want to make sure that we gently graduate people into the process and into the learning environment. So it does happen with workshops before they're actually in their first day of class, and then we build in 20 hours where we're teaching them how to learn those online skills, again, before they touch their textbooks and before they're into their program theory, so that they can stress less about being online and focus on being in the classroom.
And then, of course, I'm sure that as they go through their journey, there's technical glitches and stuff that you've got to sort of grab get around. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so we have people in our company called super users, which honestly most of us become super users because we're all in this online environment together, becoming familiar with it. So we have faculty, teaching assistants that are super users. We have our help desk team that's all IT level 1 and 2 and 3 that can support with different technology needs. And we have a range of supports for the myriad of technological hiccups that inevitably occur when we use technology.
I love this conversation because there's people that are going to watch and say, oh, I could never learn online, and what would you say to those people?
Yeah, I think it's not as inaccessible as you might think. We make sure that there's learning activities where you're still interacting with your instructor and with your peers, and that the technology sort of just fades into the background once you get curious and play around with it a little bit. So it's, like anything, it feels scarier once before you've touched it, before you've engaged with it, but very soon, even someone with very low literacy skills becomes comfortable. And we certainly have students from all backgrounds. We have students that have never touched a computer, that maybe they're newer to Canada and that computer use just isn't as prevalent as in some of our local communities, or we have returning students. Yesterday at our graduation in Surrey, we had someone walk the stage in her 70s, and her computer use likely wasn't what we see in our 18-year-olds at a high school, but she did wonderfully. And that's, technology is accessible. It's just being brave and hitting the power button.
How does it feel to know that you're making quite an impact? You're helping people get through all of this to get to where they're going tonight, to cross that stage. Must feel amazing.
Oh, I love it. I love that we can offer online because it brings education into your home. So wherever you live, northern BC, urban Surrey, you can access education with comfort in an environment that feels safe for you. That it brings education into places that might not have been accessible before, and I think that's pretty amazing.
What would you tell people about Discovery Community College? If people asked you, what is that college all about, what would you say?
What was the question
What
again?
would you
Sorry.
tell people about Discovery Community College? If I ran into you in the elevator and I said, where do you work? And you said Discovery Community College. And I said, tell me about it. What would you tell me?
Yeah, I would say that Discovery is interested in seeing every student be successful, and that we are committed to making post-secondary education accessible to those who might not have access through more traditional means. Not to say that we're not a traditional college, because we truly are, but we really lean in to supporting those to be able to access post-secondary that might have struggled navigating it in a public education system.
An absolute pleasure to be in conversation with you. So thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.